This is the Three Skeevers podcast.
All right, episode 14 of the Three Skeevers podcast with Grim from Grim Storage Gaming and myself, Icy, with Icyfire Gaming. How you doing, Grim?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. We got one announcement today, which starting next week, we're going to start putting the podcast on Anchor, which is another platform that we can use to share the video and stuff. We're still going to be doing YouTube, but you'll also be able to find it on Anchor. And we're going to try to get all the episodes that we did, the first 13 episodes that we've done, we're going to try and get those up there by the end of the week so that they'll all be visible, and then we'll have a second place to put everything too, so that'll be pretty cool. And today we have a special guest. Nolan Kerkhoff is in the studio. How you doing, Mr. Kerkhoff?
We're doing good today. I'm glad you guys hit me up and let me come chat with you guys. This is cool.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. And so the video that you posted in the Discord, I think yesterday, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, and I think I put a comment saying that I think Living Trellis would be better than Leeching Vines. And then after I wrote it, I thought about it, or I slept on it, and I was like, with like the 1vxing that he's doing, Leeching Vines is probably the better option because Living Trellis will just give you like a burst heal for yourself, but Leeching Vines, for all the people that are hitting you, they all get the minor lifesteal debuff on them. So any sort of damage that you inflict on anybody in your passing in a 1vx scenario is going to be super beneficial for you, and it'll probably out heal that burst heal that you get at the end of Living Trellis anyways. So yeah, I just thought it was an interesting realization I came to, that Leeching Vines is actually really strong for 1vx type situations for your Stamden. So
Yeah, that skill is a lifesaver, honestly. Like, I've never tried the other morph, and after reading it, I was like, okay, maybe I should give it a go. But I've just had success with that morph, without going with Arctic Blast, just kind of relying on Vigor, Rally, and then Leeching for the heals. And it seems to work, but I love to try new things.
yeah, no, like watching your gameplay, like the minor lifesteal that gets inflicted on everybody, it's a it's definitely an interesting way to I guess see that ability work for
Right.
somebody doing like 1vx and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So we were talking yesterday about kind of the background story, how you got into the YouTube channel and things like that. And I think that that's an awesome story to share with the listeners about what kind of inspired you to start your YouTube channel.
So basically, how it all started was, growing up, I always played sports, but I always loved video games, and I always balanced them. I kind of would finish school in high school, middle school, whatever, and then I would have some sort of a practice after school, and then we'd basically jump on the video game, whatever I was playing, throughout the night, kind of skip my homework and just kind of play the games. And, you know, growing up, once I had graduated high school, I moved up to Milwaukee. And in Milwaukee, I attempted to go to college at UWM, University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. It's a huge school, and kind of it didn't really work out. I was like, okay, I'm not really a classroom kind of guy. Let me find a job up here. So I found a job, and it was at the Pfister Hotel, and it's one of the most famous hotels in the world. It's in the country, I should say. I mean, maybe in the world. I don't really know, but it's super haunted. And any teams that play the Milwaukee Brewers or Milwaukee Bucks stay there. So I was always interacting with like high profile athletes, uh, comedians like Kevin Hart or Cat Williams. Like I was always around these people, and I kind of developed at a younger age because I was only like 18, 17 or 18 when I started working there. Like I kind of developed good communication skills and good uh, kind of try to, you know, talk to that person just like they're a normal person. And at a lot of times there would be a lot of famous people in front of me while I'm speaking, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna, be myself. I'm not gonna ask them for their autograph, things like that. Like, you just gotta kind of level with them. And so that job really kind of opened up my communication skills and kind of like just be confident in who you are speaking in front of people. Like when I stream, like last night I think we had like 130 people in the stream last night on YouTube, and it's a challenge to interact with like the chat and try to do well in the game itself, let alone playing solo is a death wish. But as I worked at that job and kind of matured as a person, then I started having kids. So I was like, okay, I gotta be the best dad that I can be. And when they go to bed, I need something to do. So I kind of picked up the video games again. Because for a while I wasn't playing, and once ESO came out, I think my oldest son, he was 2, I think. No, let me think. So he's 5. So he wasn't even okay. He wasn't even born yet because the game's been out for like 6, 7 years. But I started streaming. Let's get into that. Like I started streaming when he was young, and when he would go to bed, I'd be sitting around. I'd be like, okay, let me play the game and let me broadcast it. So it's been a slow process, kind of getting a community together on my channel, but it's kind of worth it now just because I would go live every night. I've been going live every night for 3+ years now. The first 3 years of the game being out, I didn't stream. I was just playing, kind of working on my craft. Always playing by myself. I kind of just enjoy the challenge of outnumbered. Um, but yeah, now here we are, 3+ years later, and I'm still live every night. Once the kids go to bed, then I literally turn on the PS4, pick whatever character I'm gonna play, and then just hit the share button and go live. And it's just like easy for me to kind of hold people's attention, kind of interact with everybody, make sure people when they come into my stream that I acknowledge that they're in the chat. I rarely miss a question or a live chat comment. It's something that I enjoy. I mean, so that's kind of like a little bit of a backstory, I guess. I could probably rant for another hour, but I'm sure you guys got something else to say because I could sit here and keep talking and talking and talking, but I gotta give it a break probably.
That's the content creator in you. You didn't know
Yeah,
bad
dude.
airtime, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, my background story is a little kind of similar to that as far as playing the game. My daughters were born. My first daughter, who's 7, and late at night because of the sleeping schedule, the way it worked, I would stay up with the baby half the night and give my wife at least a good 6 hours of sleep, and then we would switch. And during that 6 hours of me staying up with the baby, I was playing ESO. And so she might be in my arms, she might be in the bed, and I got one foot on the the rocker, rocking her while I'm playing, and so I think that's the life of a dad, and trying to occupy your time, keep yourself awake, and do something you enjoy. But where's if you had to say, what's your favorite place to PvP and why?
My favorite place to PvP by far is Imperial City, and it's for multiple reasons. I would say the biggest reason I like to PvP in there is the performance has always been great. Like I rarely have moments where I'm, like what the heck just happened? I don't know what that was. I did I just fall through the ground or did I like I don't know what just happened. There's so many times where people will come into my stream and they'll say, "Hey, you're always in Imperial City. You're always in Imperial City. Like, why don't you go to Cyrodiil?" And I'm like, "Well, Imperial City, it's smaller, and so it's more frequent action and it's kind of like there's a different dimension to it where it's like kind of PvE and PvP, and like it can get kind of crazy with bosses running around chasing you while there's a group chasing you, and sometimes you can kind of team up with a world boss in the Imperial City against like a Zerg, and like kind of almost use that mechanism to help win a fight. And then there's just so many like houses and tunnels and things to kite around, and it's almost perfect for solo play. But like the main thing is the performance. The Imperial City has always worked very well. There's always tons of people in there, to be honest. Like if you want to dive down into the sewers, you'll find people. And then if you want to go into the districts above, you'll find plenty of people. It's mainly groups running around. You don't really see a whole lot of solo players trying to, juke and jive, but it's a challenge in there. And honestly, like you get rich by being in there because you're constantly gaining Telvar, AP, and gold off of the ads, off of the players in there that you're killing, and the bosses. So it's like a great way to make currency in the game, and to just get practice um, being able to PvP against mainly like organized groups. And I die over and over and over and over. But then if I kill that group of 6, one time, like in my head, I'm like, okay, I win. Like I shouldn't be able to kill your group, but if I do, it's like, okay, I just had a blast, trying to maneuver you guys and kite them around like a district or whatever. But the Imperial City is by far my favorite place to play.
You are absolutely speaking our language right now. That's the exact same thing that both Icy and I think is for all of those reasons. It's just a very dynamic atmosphere. Plus, now I do have a couple videos showing falling through floors and all the weird stuff, but it happens way less there than it does in Cyrodiil. And another thing that was really smart that you touched base on was how quick to action um, how quick it is for you to jump into action. It doesn't take you very long to find the fights, whereas in Cyrodiil, just riding from one keep to the next or respawning at this keep and riding to the next is just a long haul and hopes that something's going on there. You ride all the way there just to get zerged down by 20 plus people, and or you go to a resource fishing, I'm going to farm this, I'm going to take this resource and see if a couple stragglers come, get a little action there. But it's so quicker to action in Imperial City, drop down into the district, take the flag, somebody's going to come. Or, and you're going to take the district just to get the buff, and another thing too that is along those lines was we had Malcolm on one of the shows, and Malcolm said, so what's it like for you when you're recording or looking for clips? And he goes, well, I ride all the way out to my favorite rock in Cyrodiil, and then I wait for people to come, and I'm like, what kind of fishing method is that where you ride out to, you paddle your boat out to this one spot and then you wait? And the reason he has to go to his favorite rock, it's his favorite rock because it's pretty much the only viable line of sight thing to fight outnumbered, in the area. Whereas there's so many things that you can use in Imperial City to fight outnumbered. But that's immediately what I thought when you were talking about the landscape and all the corners and all the little nooks and crannies that you can use to your advantage. And here Malcolm's going out to his favorite rock and hoping that somebody comes by.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. But
Like I've been in Imperial City like since they put out that DLC. I've always been there. So I don't know how long that DLC's been out, maybe 4 years. I don't think it's been out the whole entirety of the game, because I remember when I first started playing ESO, there was no Imperial City, and then they added it a little bit later. But yeah, man, I've always been in there. It's been a blast.
yeah, how many other people, to your knowledge, how many maybe content creators, or how many other people on PlayStation, to your knowledge, are out there doing what you do? They're running solo, and like when you bump into them, you know that they're solo. They're looking for the same thing you're looking for.
I would say, I mean, there's a lot of people on PS4 that play solo. You know, names that come to mind are King of Games. He plays solo at a high level. I mean, there's a lot of people that play solo, but they're not. They're trying. They're trying to get there. They're trying to figure out how to focus the weakest target when you have six people on you and they're all smashing procs into your forehead and they're all casting their abilities and staying offensive. Like it's hard. You have a very short window to turn to your offensive bar and try to land a quick combo to burst one dude down and then try to kite around a little bit again, and it's rinse and repeat, and it's hard. There's a lot of people that play solo, and I'm still working on my craft. Like I said, I die all the time. But maybe once a night I do get a cool moment and then I'll pull it from the stream and then post it on the YouTube channel. I mean, just about, I would say, a handful of people on the PlayStation 4 that are like very successful at solo. But as the game has progressed and people have gotten better over the years, it's hard. It's very hard to play solo, and unless you enjoy a challenge and you're okay with dying, you're probably not gonna be able to do it. Like it's the maximum difficulty. And I try to, when I play solo, I try to play pure. I don't. I'm not going to use anything that's completely broken or quote unquote as a carry. I like to just have like a basic build and like pure like stats. I don't want to use any proc sets. I don't want to use any um, broken mechanics in the game if people are aware of them. I try to just keep things simple, and I'm constantly just sharing my build throughout the stream so people can understand what I'm running. And a lot of times I'll just go through my inventory while I'm live. But yeah, I mean, I would say there's about a handful of people, that are good at it. There's tons that try, but they're working at it. They're working at it, which is respectful. They're trying to master their craft.
So what you're saying is we're not going to see you rocking a werewolf in Crimson and Plague Slinger anytime soon.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if there's something that's completely like easy mode and it'll make my solo experience easier, I don't want to do it. Like there's certain sets like the two-piece engine guardian, that's like in my stream, like that's a frowned upon monster set. A lot of people try to get me in it because that little robot will block a lot of damage for me. Like people will target it and it'll soak up damage like a meat shield. There's certain things I just won't wear. I don't have any arena weapons. I don't have any mythic items. I think mythic items were some of the best thing that ESO has brought to the game are the mythic items, and I think they're perfect for solo play. It's almost like those one piece amazing jewelry or feet or whatever piece you would pick. Those are perfect for solo, but I just haven't gotten into grinding for them. But yeah, I mean I kind of just wear standard sets that give like weapon damage or max magic or max stamina. Like I just like the character sheet to look juicy, and then all the other random stuff I'm like, I'm good on that.
So
Yeah.
about the Engine Guardian comment, I'm not a filthy Engine Guardian user, but would you would you put that in the same category as like with Crimson, with like like carrying people, or do you think it's do you think Engine Guardian is more of a problematic monster set?
Engine Guardian used to be, if you wore that, you were being like unique. It was like, okay, he's wearing that for sustain,
Hmm.
and then they changed it, and now the health proc is like so strong, and it's you used to get like a green or a magic proc for Stammer Mag, and it was like, all right, he's running Engine Guardian for sustain, but now it's like if you have Engine Guardian on, you're almost unkillable because it's always been targetable. Like I think if they made that robot untargetable, it would help a lot. But with what they changed with it, like recently, you're always getting that health proc, and it's like 2k health per second, and it's just like it is such a Pro Bowl fullback, like just leading you through the charge. I mean, I don't think it's at the point of being like a werewolf kind of carry, but it's very strong, and I won't wear it.
Speaking of that, I ran into a werewolf with Engine Guardian on my Elsa video when I was only level 30. And I have a video clip of that, him trying to kill me with his werewolf using Engine Guardian on a Stamplar. But yeah, and I think it's even confirmed that it's almost like 30% damage mitigation when the robot's up.
Yes.
So,
And
Gee.
a lot of people say in my stream, they'll say, Nolan, tab target, just focus the guy. But there's so many times where there's 6 dudes chasing me, and 3 dudes have Engine Guardian, and it's like, dude, I don't have time to do all that. Like, I'm dead if I start trying to tab target one dude to not hit his Engine Guardian. I can't waste time like that. Like, every second is valuable, and it's like I just got to try to line up a burst, and if my sub assault or my binding javelin hits the robot, it's just like, all right, I'll try again. Let me cycle through my buffs and jump down the staircase, and it's kind of like it's rough. A lot of people are wearing it.
Sorry, quick question. How do you tab target on a console?
So you got to right click there's the right analog.
Hmm.
If you if you were like aiming at a player, you can right click the right analog and it'll highlight that character. But then you can't
Oh.
attack. You can't attack anybody else, so you're kind of like, I gotta kill him. And if I can't, because like if you're on like a stand blade, if I'm playing my stand blade, which is all single target, no AoEs, like I can't really kill anybody other than the person that I tab target.
yeah, and you're not trying
But
to complicate the process of switching targets, burst on this guy and then change to this guy, then burst back on that guy just by tab
right.
targeting.
And for a 1v1, yeah, I think that's viable. Like if you're just in a random 1v1 off to the side in Imperial City or Cyrodiil or what have you, you can tab target that player and not put a bunch of damage into their robot that's chasing them around.
Mhm.
Because that Engine Guardian has a high uptime, like, especially on certain classes, that robots can be on his side most of the fight.
Yeah, it's out there all the time. What so as far as your favorite place to go, that's Imperial City, then what's your favorite classes right now to play on and why?
So, okay, favorite class of all time, and it always will be, is the Stamina Templar. I think the Stamina Templar is kind of, it's always like the underdog. You know, a lot of people feel as though Stamina Templar is strong because it has a cleanse ability, you know, it has biting jabs, but it's not so cut and dry. Um, the Stamina Templar has always been strong in a 1v1. But outnumbered it lacks. It's a patient burst that's a slow build-up burst. And they're spammable. Yes, you don't have to use Dizzying Swing, and you actually have a legit spammable, but it's a channel. So you kind of, when you're poking, if any of your buffs are down, like you're super vulnerable just to get deleted. And if there's any sort of lag, you know, biting jabs is like dizzying swing. A lot of your pokes, because with each channel there's 4 pokes, and a lot of times only one poke will hit. So then you just wasted a channel where you're super vulnerable, and you only poked them for like one jab. So it's like they barely took any damage. A lot of times the Stamina Templar outnumbered is hard because the sustain is rough. Whereas, like, you want to build for huge burst on a Stamplar and, like, blow people up with, you know, you'll throw up your power to light, you'll throw your binding javelin to stun them, and then maybe drop a Dawnbreaker and then start jabbing at them. But while you're doing that, the other people are beating on you. So it's kind of like they lack sustain. Like I build mine like over sustain. Like I'm putting on 2 blood spawn, 5 eternal vigor, and my damage is really only coming from New Moon Acolyte.
Yeah. I noticed that about your builds. I like that. Something that's interesting along the builds line is I just watched a video with Grim Hollow, and Grim, when we had him on the show, he was of the same mindset. Look, I don't like these proc sets. I don't like this situation where these sets are doing damage for you with the click of one button. I want to do my own damage, and shortly after that he released a video with a werewolf build wearing crimson and showing how cheese it was, and he literally, while he's going through the armor sets and explaining the build, he's standing at a boss in Imperial City, and he's inside his inventory sheet showing the stats, and when he comes out of it, the boss is dead just from the crimson proc. He survived the entire time just from Crimson's proc, and killed the boss. How silly is that?
Wow.
Well,
That's insane.
yeah, so he's very much like, let's get some basic stats in here, basic stuff. And then just within the past week, he released a build that's using Venomous Smite. And he said, here's why. Number one, everybody else is wearing it right now. It's a super tanky meta. A lot of people have moved into the heavy armor situation to combat the proc set situation. And he goes, I'm in a position now where I was able to come off of weapon damage because the proc from this set doesn't scale off my weapon damage. It doesn't scale off my max stam. It's just going to do work on its own, and I could focus more on sustain. So he went Venomous Smite and Eternal Vigor. And he said, I never pictured really myself kind of going into this type of setup, but the meta steered me into that. He's capable of getting tons and tons of kills. If you've ever seen Grim Hollow play, he can rack up the kills no problem. And there's a perfect montage at the beginning, or a BG footage of him just destroying a bunch of people in a BG too, and it's beautiful to see. It's very, it's a work of art. But he had to get to this point where he's like, I needed to incorporate a proc set, and a proc set in the hands of someone like you, someone like him, the high skill level solo players, a proc set in their hands is a nuclear missile. It's absolute danger. And so I thought that was interesting that he finally came around to that. It might be an interesting video for you to watch, and maybe you'll feel a little different about incorporating a proc set into your build because you are fighting outnumbered all the time. And it's not so much that you want to, but it's where the meta is going as far as what you're continually facing. And just by adding Venomous Smite too, he was able to apply a bunch of pressure to outnumbered. He just gets it on one person, and now the group he's fighting and outnumbered has pressure on them, and it was really hurting werewolves. And werewolves, and I'm going to quote you here, werewolves are grease. Werewolves are grease, man. And
super grease,
super grease. And I play a werewolf too, by the way. I got a werewolf on every faction ready to go for mid-year mayhem because they are grease. But I'm telling you, and I chop everybody up with them. I love it. But that might be an interesting video for you to watch because he did such a good
Grim
job.
Hollow he's good, man. I've seen his videos on his Stamblade, and he's really nice.
Yeah. I was very interested to see that he went to a proc after we spoke. This was earlier in the year, but it's not so much what he wanted to do, it's just what was needed to maintain his superiority, right? And at some point, you're going to be fighting at a disadvantage, and I'm going to be fighting at a disadvantage. Icy's going to be Grim Hollow's fighting at a disadvantage by not embracing the grease, or embracing the cheese, and flexing it. Like, okay, you want to put these sets in the game? Here's exactly what it's going to do to people when in the right hands. So,
Right.
did you have anything to add to that, Icy?
It's kind of like, I know you mentioned it maybe a couple of months ago when all these proc sets were starting to ramp up, where in order for ZOS to possibly do something about it, everybody's got to start wearing it, especially the content creators. And then at some point, s- hopefully there'll be some sort of balance implemented that'll address everything in some degree. So it looks like we're starting to get there with visibility, but I guess we'll see what happens over the next couple months.
Yeah. And talking about Greece, I 3 days ago, I'm down at the middle of Imperial City at the I think I was by myself or with one other no, I was with two other people that we don't run with regularly, but we were just, I think two of them might even have been low level, and we're just killing the portals, getting EXP, collecting Telvar. And 7 werewolves roll in, all wearing crimson, all wearing Plague Slinger. What? What the like?
Yes.
I mean,
Come on.
that sounds like a fair fight to me. I don't know what you're hollering about, Grim.
Well, I killed them all, but no. Yeah, no, they killed the 2 that I was with, and then we got to see how fast I am. I was quoting Icy. Don't they know I'm the cousin of Usain Bolt?
Yeah.
As I'm running for my life. But come on, like 7 werewolves wearing crimson and Plague Slinger. Congratulations, guys. You beat the game. Good job.
Yep.
I was talking to a buddy on Discord maybe like 30 minutes before we started recording this, and he said he took a break off from ESO and everything, and he was asking me, "Hey, so are proc sets still a thing?" And I told him, "Well, there's werewolves wearing crimson now." And he's like, "Oh, well, that sounds like fun if you're in a group of friends doing it." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure it is, but you know." On one side we're having fun with our friends, just trolling around, all being werewolves and crimson. But at the other side, you're promoting unhealthy gameplay, and I guess what's the right call at the end of the day, so
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed, because I'm in Imperial City a lot, so a huge thing I've noticed with werewolves is that a lot of them are starting to wear Imperial physique, and you have to carry 10,000 Telvar on you for that set to kick in, and then all your stats are bumped up, which basically stacks with like the werewolf, transformation. So you'll see a lot of werewolves in Imperial physique in groups. You'll see that big blue thing shooting up to the sky, and you're like, dude, like I'm not gonna kill even one of these guys. Like there's 10 of them in a group, all wearing Imperial physique. So if you could nuke them all down, you're gonna get like 100,000 Telvar or something. But it's like it's been crazy. It's been absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into the next thing was the current state of PvP and like what you're running into regularly on console as far as meta builds and then common problems. But not only that, not only are those werewolves wearing Imperial physique and they have god tier stats, they're pairing it with like a Lessian order too. So they have something like
Right.
5k health regen too. So it's like
Right.
even if I hit a Dawnbreaker on these dudes, the upfront burst damage from the Dawnbreaker is probably offset by their very first health regen tick, and then the dot damage is a net gain for them every single time the dot from Dawnbreaker ticks. It doesn't even matter because their health regens double that. So it's so
Right.
stupid. But
Yep.
what are you running into meta build wise right now? What's a common thing you see on console other than werewolves and cheese?
Other than werewolf grease and cheese, there's the main thing right now on console is there's a million stamdens. Like stamina warden is huge. It's you see they're everywhere. Like and it's 35k to 40k health, you know, heavy armor and Malakath. So they're getting their healing from Arctic Blast, which scales off their max health. So they'll stack health, and then they'll put sets on that give them health and damage, like a clever alchemist that's giving you 2 lines of health and then 650 weapon damage when you hit a potion, and then you're stacking that with Malakath and heavy armor, you're tanky and you have damage and you got heals, and then the sub assault, that skill, talking to people that have mained it since it came out, like King of Games, that skill is stronger. Like it comes out twice now. So if you're good at the class, you can land like a 20k tooltip sub assault twice, while you're spamming your D swings and your Dawnbreakers. So like the Stamden is super super popular right now. Another thing that I see a lot is Magsorks using Overload. Overload is it's always been kind of sketchy, but lately it's been even worse as far as the desync. You'll be at 20k health, you'll have your vigor up, you'll have whatever other heal you got going, and then they'll pop their ultimate, which is Overload, and they'll be shooting those light attacks of Overload, and yeah, you can dodge roll them, but if they hit you, they hit hard, and it's a weird desync to where your health will go from like 15k, 20k health, like you're feeling comfortable, and then all of a sudden you're just on the ground. Like there's been a few videos put out about it, like Zos, fixed the desync on Overload. That's something that I'm seeing a lot on console is the Stamden, with the high health and the big burst with Malakath and whatever, and then the Magsorks with, obviously they got Engine Guardian on, but then they're using the Overload to kind of cheese you. They know if they pop it, they can save their ultimate to 500 and then have a infinite Overload spam until you kind of just melt into the ground. Because when I'm getting Overload spammed, I'm kind of on the defense. I'm kind of like throwing up my vigor, making sure I get a fat rally tick, having the rally active for a long time. I'm dodge rolling when I can to avoid those nukes that are coming at me. But I would say, yeah, those two are big, and then I would say Stamblade is pretty meta right now. If like, regardless of gear, for these, well, I did talk about Clever Alchemist and Malakath. Like that is pretty standard for Stamden, but the Stamblade is in a really good spot. You see a lot of Stamblades, and a lot of them are using Shadowy Disguise morph, and then a lot of them are using Dark Cloak. Both those morphs are strong, but there's Stamblades hitting hard right now, and once they brought the stun back to their spammable surprise attack, it was a game changer. Now you can mess people up real quick, because I think a lot of people aren't aware that surprise attack, the Nightblade spammable, it hits hard, it stuns, and it gives you your armor buff through the shadow passives, so you don't have to flip to the back bar and throw up an armor buff like a rune focus on the Stamplar or what have you. You can stay offensive for long periods of time, and people are two-tapping with spec bow and incap. Like you can just two-tap people so quickly on the Stamblade right now. Like that combo is top tier. So I would say those are my top 3.
Yeah, and I know you like to run solo, and it looks like they announced Mid-Year Mayhem is going to be the first event of this year. We don't have a date just yet, do we, Icy?
No date yet, but
No.
they might announcement. I think in the next. I think they said January 20th or 23rd, something like that. Somewhere in the early 20s of January, they're gonna make an announcement and maybe they'll let us know then.
Okay, so Mid-Year Mayhem is right around the corner. Do you plan on going into Mid-Year Mayhem solo, or are you going to have the Avengers assemble, and are you going to put a team together of 2, 3, 4, 5 people and start taking down whales? What's your plans for Mid-Year Mayhem?
So the last Mid-Year Mayhem, I played, I would say 90% of it solo. And it's so much fun, dude. It is so much fun playing by yourself because, like, there is a lot of people, but a lot of them are really bad. So it makes for like good clips and good content. Like, but that's also something that's frowned upon, like on the PlayStation side of things, like of the content creators. They don't like people putting out clips. If it's a mid-year clip, they're like, okay, it doesn't count. These dudes are all light attacking and just standing there. But it's like, yo, if there's 10, 15 dudes and I drop them all, I don't care what event it's in. It's like that I should never be able to kill 10 dudes at home on their couches like spamming attacks at me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I'm gonna play it solo the whole time. It just makes for good content. People want to see, one dude take out a group or kite them around for a while and string them out and pop five here, pop two guys there. But the last mid-year, I did team up with King of Games on one night, and that was insane. Like that was insane. Like he was on a Stam Crow, which is super strong still, and then I was on my Stamina Templar, and we were dropping groups. And there's a clip that he has on his YouTube channel where we're in the sewers, and there is, I would say, 15 yellows, and they're fighting a flag boss in the sewers. We nuked down the whole group after 5-10 minutes of trying to like poke at them and kite around and dip in and out. After we killed all of them, the boss started running away. Like I think he was resetting. I think the boss was resetting, but I don't think like King of Games or me thought of that at the time. But we were like, "Oh my god, dude! Like even the boss is running. Like the flag boss is running. Like we even like
it's like,
we
oh
were
hell
calling the
no, I'm
flag
out of here.
boss. Yeah, he ran out, and we were calling the flag boss a Zergling and all this stuff, and we're like, it was just a blast. So I'm sure I'll team up with maybe a person on a certain night and then like put it in the stream title. But I would say most of the time I'll just be by myself.
Yeah. Hey, don't ever let anyone brow bash you for if they're PvEers, they're PvEers. Like the people, but like you said, there's still 10, 20 of them, you know,
Right.
and they outnumber you. And Malcolm, when he was on, Malcolm had just released a really, really well done. It was art. It was just art. It was to music, and he wiped. Gosh, I don't even know how many people it was. I think the name of the video was like 20 people in 3 minutes.
Yep,
20
I saw it. I
20.
saw it. It was on
Yeah,
his mag sword.
yeah, 20 kills in 3 minutes, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I don't care if they're PvEers or what. You're in a PvP
Yep.
zone, and be ready to be made an example of, right? And
Right.
there were so many people that were posting in the bottom of it, in his comments, like PvEers, nobody cares. This is garbage, whatever. And I was like, Malcolm,
Right.
they can't do it.
Right.
You're out there doing it. So don't let somebody sitting at home on their couch eating Cheetos tell you
Right.
that what you just put out there, you put it out there for entertainment value. And if they don't
Right.
find it entertaining, like if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Right.
Like just
It's
move
fun to
on.
watch.
It is
It's
fun to
fun to
watch.
watch
Yeah.
one guy kill, 10. Like I just posted a clip and it was State of PvP #2. And I'm in Arboretum on my Stamsork, and there is a group of 10 to 15 yellows coming at me. And I'm like, dude, what in the world? So I just start kiting, popping up the hurricane to get the speed buff, throwing up a vigor and dark deal, and then streaking when I can, but I can only streak, a couple times, and then I'm out of magic. So I gotta like streak very strategically because I don't want to run out of magic to where I can't use my crit surge, I can't use dark deal, I can't use um, dark deal, crit surge, and streak. Those are the main abilities on a Stamsork where you got to use magic. But anyways, so I posted that clip, State of PvP #2, and it's doing really well as far as views because it was solo, and I killed out of that group. I would say I killed 10 of them, and then the other 5, I don't know where they went. So it was like, it's fun to watch, and a couple people had commented like, "Yo, is this a mid-year clip?" I'm like, "No, this is from a couple nights ago, live on stream." Regardless, it's just fun to watch. Like, you got to just respect it.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I see all these people that are like, nobody cares, or the whole thing where they're like, nobody wants to see mid-year mayhem clips. I'm
Right.
raising my hand. I want to see it. Like,
Right.
because you're out there doing it. And half these people that make those comments, they can't do it themselves. So,
Right.
the wolf does not concern itself with the opinion of sheep. So,
Right.
uh,
Honestly, that's a good way to put it.
yeah. So, what are your plans for the future for your YouTube channel? Have you, like, I noticed that your channel is just starting to boom, and I don't know if it's tied to you had awesome clips on Christopher ESO top 5 or top 10 plays, game top 10 PvP clips. You were in there taking heads, or if it's just a natural growth process on a channel and consistency. What's next for you on the channel?
I think, for me, like personally, I'm always going to be family first. So I kind of got to see how my family's doing. Now that I got, just like you, Grim, having 2 kids, it's like, okay, I got to try to balance all these things. But I do have a super nice luxury of being able to play at night consistently. Whereas some people don't have that. Maybe they're too tired and they're trying to go to bed. Whereas for me, like, I'm gonna keep streaming every single night. Like, I've been doing it for 3+ years. I wish I would have started streaming when the game came out. I really wish I could have, started while the game started. But I got a late jump on it. Those first few years I was kind of just doing my thing, trying to perfect my craft, and then I got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to start streaming this because I am nuking kids, and I want other people to watch. But it's been a slow process. It took 3 years to get to 1,000 subs just from streaming. No, not putting out edited clips, not putting out exposed videos and things like that to try to get views. It was literally just when I play, I hit broadcast, and then that's it. And for a while, it was just, 10, 15 people kind of lingering in there, only a few people chatting. And then once I hit 1,000 subs, which was like 4 or 5 months ago, it's insane what YouTube does with your visibility or something, because my streams have been crazy. Like the last few nights, it's just been anywhere from 60 to 140 people, and it's the count's going up and down the whole night. And I'm like, dude, this is insane, you guys. Like, if you're new, then you're welcome. But I don't know what to say. I appreciate you guys coming in here. This is the ultimate challenge, and it's fun to be able to stream solo PvP and kind of show people that it is possible, and show people that I am human and I'm gonna get frustrated sometimes, but I'm gonna keep respawning, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna keep killing people. And I've kind of stopped being lazy, and I've been pulling clips out of my streams because I've never done that before. I've kind of just let my stream load up to the channel and then just leave it there. Like, and if people click on it and skip around in it, that's up to them. But lately, in the last month or two, I've been taking the time to save my stream video to QuickTime Player. It's like a MacBook program, and I've been pulling clips out of these streams, and it's been working. Because my channel is still super small, but it's like you said, it's kind of picking up speed, so it's crazy. Like, I'm starting to now, it's like during the day I'll be playing with the 5-year-old or holding the newborn, and I'm thinking like, what am I gonna play tonight? Because as soon as I hit live, there's gonna be like 40 people in there right away, and then it's gonna get up to like 100 viewers, and I gotta be on my A game, and then maybe I gotta run up, like I said to you yesterday, maybe I gotta run upstairs and change a diaper. So I'll always leave my character sitting there with the character sheet up. So it gives somebody something to look at. They like, people love stats and people love numbers. And so I'll leave my character sheet up there just for, people to analyze my numbers, where they're at, and they can like see my Mundus stone and my race and things like that, and my champion points. And I'll come back after doing whatever I got to do, and they're still sitting there. Like last night I took a tank. There was 120 people watching me get destroyed on the Magic Dragonite. I'm trying to learn that right now. And I came back, and there was still 100 people in there. I'm like, okay, welcome, I'm back. I just had to use the bathroom and go upstairs, but I'm not stopping anytime soon. Just to wrap it up, I'm gonna keep streaming every night. I've been meeting amazing people in the streams. Um, like I said earlier, I love interacting with these people that are coming in with their questions. I rarely miss a comment, and I have a lot of moderators. I have a gross amount of moderators because a lot of these people have been in my streams for years, and so it's like now they're coming back in with their blue wrench next to their name, and now I have a whole crew of these moderators that kind of keep the questions answered if I'm taking a 5-minute break, or if a troll comes in. Believe it or not, there's been some crazy stuff. Like, people have made accounts. They'll make a YouTube account, and the YouTube account's name is Kerkhoff's Baby, and then they'll just type in the chat. They'll type in the chat, wah, 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 wah. And I'm like, oh my god, dude, you guys are savage. Like, so there's trolls that come in with funny account names like Kerkhoff's Garbage, and then they'll type, hey guys, what's going on? And so there's crazy stuff that goes on in the chat. So I got these moderators to kind of like manage it while I'm kiting around a group and I can't look at the chat. But yeah, I'm not stopping anytime soon. I want to keep putting in that extra effort to put out the edited clips, because sometimes people miss what happens live and they don't want to click through a 4-hour stream to try to find something cool. So I've been putting out these 3-minute to 6-minute highlight clips, and I've actually made a playlist on my channel where it just says 1VX clips, and I'm up to, I think, 12 of them now in the last month or two. I've been starting to do it, and I got times written down on a piece of paper that I still gotta put those out. It takes time to kind of go through my stream, find a start time of the clip and then an end time of the clip without making it too long, because people don't want to click on a 15-minute kite job. They want to click on like a 5-minute burst of you taking people out. But it's a challenge. I mean, I'm not, like I said like 3 times already, I'm not gonna stop anytime soon. If the game is still being played, I'll be right there in the chaos of it.
Yeah. And I know Icy and I have been running around and had some crazy encounters. We'll kill a group of 10 or 20 people, and then immediately we're like, that's the clip right there. We just know that was it. That was
It's a
awesome.
good moment.
Yeah.
It's fun, dude. It's rewarding.
Yeah. And then there's other times where you're recording and you're like, man, that was awesome. And then you go back and watch it and you're kind of like, I don't know. Like it takes that
Right.
second trip to look at it. Yeah.
It does.
So that's very cool. How can people contact you? I saw that you have a Patreon, and then what could people do right now? Do you have merchandise? Are you planning on adding merchandise to your line? How can people help you grow the channel? What are things that help you a lot in game and out of game?
So you mentioned the Patreon. My girl, she put that like on my thing. I don't really know anything about that. Like, she's like, "Hey, I made a Patreon for you, and I put it in your about section on your channel." I'm like, "What the? I don't even know what that is." She's like, "Well, people can donate money there, but you gotta do this and do that." I'm like, "Okay, sure, whatever." Like, for me, I don't ask for anything. I just love the positivity to come into my streams. I've people have donated a lot of money through the super chat. during the live stream where you're typing a message, there's a money logo to the right. And once you hit 1,000 subs, people can click on that money logo and donate money through the chat, and then it's cool for them because it shows their donation in the chat. It shows how much money they donated, and then they're recognized for being generous, So, I don't countless times people have donated me like in-game currency like gold or Telvar so that I can finish a build because like solo PvP, it's kind of rough to get rich, like, because you're dying a lot, but you're also, you're killing a lot, but it's not like you're in a 20-man Zerg, like just wiping through district bosses and stacking up thousands of Telvar on the multipliers. So, like, playing by yourself, it's kind of rough to get currency. So, a lot of people donate in game, which is totally fine for me. Like, that's all I really have ever asked for while streaming is like, hey, you got like 10k gold? I'm trying to like respect this skill. Like I need to do my skills because everybody will be like, yo, try this morph, try this morph. Okay, well I gotta go to Grotwood and I gotta respec everything. So I mean, yeah, I mean it's I feel, thankful that people donate money on the live chat thing, but I've never been the type to say, hey, make sure you guys donate, make sure you guys donate. Like that, to me, that just feels weird. Like I do have a full-time job as a hydraulic technician, and so this is more for fun. But if people are feeling generous and they want to throw money, that's fine, but I'll never ask for it. But I will ask for, like 10k gold to help me like finish a build so then I can get back to entertaining, I guess, by, doing PvP and I'm not just sitting in Grotwood or Stormhaven trying to sell soul gems or whatever.
Right. I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand about content creators. It's the investment in your time and effort um, to put the clips together, to do the videos, or for you, now you're pulling the clips out and you're putting together those clips, and you're donating or dedicating your time to and being consistent with airing. It's really expensive in game to be a content creator. Like my Incredible Hulk video that I did a month ago or whatever, that has 3 separate builds in it, the Hulk Smash. That video cost me 3 million gold, and I had to farm my tail off to make that happen. But that video by itself cost me 3 million gold, and it costs a lot of money to put builds together and to get out there and test them and put clips together too. Get out there and actually take heads. So that's
That's
cool.
insane. I definitely believe that. Like that, I watched that video, that Hulk one, and the thumbnail on that video is amazing. The video is amazing. The builds are awesome, and I could easily see that being 3 million once you add up all the gold for the mats and maybe a race change or what have you. But I definitely can see that.
Yeah, thanks.
And I think it's a lot easier too to make gold on PC compared to console, just because of the add-ons that you have access to, especially with doing your daily writs and stuff. They pretty much do it for you, so you don't have to spend 10 minutes or whatever on one character in console doing your writs or something. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. The add-ons and everything. We've got so many perks going for us on PC compared to what you're having to go through. So,
And another thing is like a lot of people, like for me, I only play this game once a day, and it's at nighttime, and then I just broadcast it. So I don't have like time to like I could take a night off, but I don't like doing that. Like to where I could just farm and try to make currency in the game. But by the end of the day, after like work and doing dad stuff, like I'm trying to just like pop heads. Like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to go, gather materials and Craiglorn. Like, so I can play ESO once a day, and it's at nighttime. And when I'm playing, I'm trying to PvP. I don't wanna try to make gold. I don't have time.
Yeah, don't mind my dog upstairs barking. I think my wife's leaving right now. But um, so are there any topics that I know that you had some notes maybe, or did we cover everything or do you have any questions?
I think one thing I want to go over is like first I want to say how awesome I think Elder Scrolls is the best game that I've ever played by far. Like I'm 28 and I've been playing video games since I was man, probably 10. So I don't know, I've always played games and this is the best game I've ever played. I think the MMOs right now out in the world are kind of dry. Like they're kind of lacking. There's not a huge selection of great MMOs. And I think honestly, like ESO is right at the top. Like, yeah, you have World of Warcraft, but like that game's been out for 20 years. People are like, okay, I need something new. And with ESO, it's 6 or 7 years old, but there's still so many new players that are coming into this game, and they're coming into my stream and they're saying, what is this? Is this Skyrim? Like, what is this game? And I'm like, dang, you've never heard of this game before? Like, this game is amazing. I take the time and I give them just like a brief summary of what this is, and I tell them, hey, don't overwhelm yourself. Like, pick a class, try to learn that class, and get it to level 50 while you're doing it. And then there's the CP system where I tell them, hey, get to CP 160 before you worry about any gear or weapons. Like, get to the highest level, which is CP 160, that the gear and armor can be made. So I just tell them like, hey, don't overwhelm yourself. The game is super, super like full. Like you'll never beat everything. Like there's no way you're gonna finish everything like right away or even ever. But I think the main thing with ESO is the game is amazing. It's a lot of fun. The combat system is unlike any other game. But I think just the one thing that they need to work on is the performance. The game has been out for a long time, kind of. I mean, I don't know, 6 years to me seems like a long time, but it doesn't seem that long to me. Like I can still remember playing this game, years ago, and things that happened and funny moments and yada yada. But I think the performance just has to get better. If they have to take all the servers down for a week where nobody's playing ESO and they have to recode things or fix a server or spend the time to kind of fix the game as far as lag and latency and bugs and glitches. I think they would make more money in the long run by keeping new players that come into this game, and maybe they're playing it for the first time and they get to level 10 and then they're able to go to Cyrodiil finally, and they're in Cyrodiil and nothing's really working. Well, they're probably going to put that game down and not play it again. They're going to be like, okay, this game doesn't even work. I don't want to play this. This is too frustrating. But then you have people like me and Grim and Icy, like people who've played this game for a long time and have like thick skin, and we kind of just deal with it because we love the game. But if they would just kind of focus performance and try to get that squared away, instead of adding this, that, and the other thing, like let's make the game work and make the game uh, run smooth before anything. I think that would be just the last thing I would want to touch on.
Yeah, I'm actually a fairly new player. I just started in September 2019, so I'm coming up on maybe a year and a half of playing. But no, I'm right there with you. I've been in we're mostly playing in the sewers a lot of the time, but yeah, performance would be awesome if they could if they can improve on that. And hey, if it took a week or maybe even a month, I'm sure we could all use the day off, just to relax
Right.
and take a breather and then come back. And now the game is the way it should have always been, in terms of
Right.
performance. You know.
Yeah.
Because
And
years ago, Grim, like I've played this game since it came out, the day it came out. Because I always played Skyrim and back in the day in Oblivion and Morrowind. I've always played the Elder Scrolls games. And so when I found out that an online version of this was coming out, I was at GameStop that day, and I got this game the day it came out for PS4, and I actually still have the exact same PS4 that I was playing on that day. Like this thing's a beast. Like I'm gonna get the PS5, that's for sure, but they're kind of hard to find right now.
Hmm.
But I've played since the game came out, and back in the day, you could have Cyrodiil fights, massive fights in Cyrodiil, and there was like barely any lag. Like it was insane. It was insane. I'll be running up to a keep, taking out the siege line in the back, and there's like catapults and meat bags and all this stuff. And I'm running up by myself on my Templar or my Sork, just taking people out. And then once they realize, dude, hey, you guys, I think we're getting attacked by a guy. Let's all get off our our siege, you know. But I just remember back in the day, it was great. It was you could run up to a keep where it was 20 dudes up on the wall, 20 dudes on the ground, and then a huge siege convoy, and like the performance was amazing. So I think they just need to take the time and do something. I'm not a genius with all that kind of stuff, but like you said, if they got to take the game down for a time period, and then if they fix it, it's a break for everybody, and it's like refreshing to come back to something that okay, let's make it better. We know it's in a bad state. Certain things aren't working. People are getting frustrated because with ESO, it's such a great game and people play it for hours and hours and hours. They want it to work. They want it to perform to their expectations, but no game runs perfect. But I think they got some work to do for sure.
yeah, it's so you had mentioned that you went to GameStop. I was actually an assistant store manager at GameStop in Illinois. And the store manager got a beta tester code for Elder Scrolls Online, and he wasn't going to do it. And I was already a beta tester for Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14, and so I kind of knew what came with that, as far as playing the game and then reporting whatever bugs or whatever abilities aren't working or this, that, and the other. And so he just gave me the code. And that's how I got my code was, our store was provided one code for beta testing for ESO Online. And I was able to get the code. He said I would do more with it. And so, yeah, I was there, I guess, pre-day one, right? So
Right, definitely.
yeah, and I have had some time off. I think the most amount of time I missed was between 6 months or a year. And then we did try some other games not too long ago when performance was really bad or whatever, and kind of gave them a chance to hopefully start fixing some things. So, yeah, but I don't know. I think we're all hoping for the best as far as performance goes. Did you have anything else to add, Icy?
Um, no, I think I'm all set. If Kirkhoff, you got any last words you'd like to share with everybody before we take a
One
close out?
thing, one thing I feel like I didn't. You guys had asked the question about like how can people contact me, things like that. I don't think I ever really went over that. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't really have like social media things like that. I kind of just have my YouTube channel. Um, so that's kind of like the only way. Like now I'm in, Grimm's Discord, so that's a great way to contact me. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than going on my YouTube channel and just like commenting on a video or coming into my stream, I stream at the same time every night, which is it's 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9 for me, and I'm in Wisconsin, so I believe that's Central Time. So like you can just basically just find me there, and I have no problem helping anybody who comes into my stream because I mean I have 6 or 7 years, however long this game's been out, of experience and learning things the hard way on my own, and I have no problem with people coming in that are day one players, and I can take the time in my stream for 10-15 minutes, showing them certain things, or a shortcut to get to this dungeon, or a good spot to grind EXP. So it's just the best way to communicate is just going on my YouTube channel.
And what we'll do is we'll make sure that we've got your YouTube channel in the descriptions below. That way everybody can find you for sure. Have you ever thought about taking the clips where you're 1vxing and doing dialogue to it, kind of a walkthrough, a peek in the mind of a 1vxer, and you can kind of break down what you're
Like,
noticing,
yeah, like a play-by-play.
play by play?
That would be
Yeah.
awesome. Honestly, that's something I've never thought about, and I think that would be a great idea. Honestly, like maybe pause the video. Okay, so here I'm looking at these dudes, and basically walking them through what my thought process is, and when to run and when to buff up, and when to go offensive. I think that would be awesome. That is definitely something I should look into.
That's one of the biggest questions that we get is I want help 1vxing, or I want help fighting outnumbered, and then they go to as we talk to them more, then they're like, well, I guess we should start with 1v1ing. I kind of need help with 1v1ing right now. And I'm like, yeah, so let's not worry about 1vxing until we can 1v1. And then, when you're queuing for battlegrounds, the people that I'm training or working with, I always tell them use battlegrounds as your training area, your dojo or your gym, and write 3 different things you want to work on down on a piece of paper before you go into the battleground. And one of them might be, I want to win each 1v1, and then the other one is I want to win at least 2 or 3 outnumbered situations, and your teammates won't necessarily like hearing that because they're like, hey, well, I'm trying to capture this relic, or I'm trying to take this flag, or I'm trying to do whatever it is, and you're out there just putting checks in the box, for your training for the day. But
Right.
yeah, so I think that
I
that would
think
be
that's a
awesome.
great idea. I
Oh,
mean, with what you said with the battlegrounds, that's honestly something that I've done for a long time. Is because you're gonna get action right away as soon as you queue up, and you get into a battlegrounds. You're gonna be able to test the build. So a lot of times, like what I've been doing on the Magic Dragon Knight the last 3 nights, is I've been going into battlegrounds to test the setups that I'm running. And right now, kind of going back to what you were saying is, what's meta on console like PS4. Magic Dragon Knight is super super popular, but it's the proc sets. It's you're wearing 5 overwhelming surge, you're wearing 5 crimson, and then you're wearing 2 Grothar or 2 Zons, to where it's like all your damage is coming from just your sets popping off, and not so much your interactive abilities, and using a clean rotation. So I've been running like a pretty old school kind of light armor Magic Dragon Knight, and I'm terrible, but I'm trying to get there, and I've been streaming the process of crafting the gear, and picking the right skills. And I've been going into battlegrounds a lot just to test the build, and it's honestly a great way to do it. You don't have CP, so you're kind of squishy, and you'll kind of get lit up. But at the end of the day, you're gonna get to work on your rotation, and get to work on outnumbered, and 1v1s off to the side, and that's honestly a great way. Like going into battlegrounds, that's a great way to kind of get your feet wet, because it's rough in there. It's not easy, and I'm kind of built different, to where even though I'm on a team, there's a 4-man team, that I'm on, but I kind of go off to the other way that they're like, if they're going left, I'm going right. Like I kind of I want to
Right.
see
Yep.
what I can do by myself, and I'll say it in my stream all the time. I'm like, you guys, I'm on a team right now, and I feel like if I stick near them, it's way too easy because I can just stay offensive and just nuke people. So I kind of go the other way and try to see what I can do.
Yeah, I like that. Sometimes we have to rewind it with the new people, and the new people are like, they'll run off on their own over and over again. Because what we do is we have some classrooms or training rooms in the Discord, and we'll have them stream their BGs, and then I'll be basically a live coach in their ear saying, okay, here's an opportunity for a 1v1, or here's an outnumbered situation. Let's see how we do it. Or let's advance in the opposite direction because you're way outnumbered right now. Don't forget your buffs or whatever it is. But
Right.
those guys, sometimes we have to dial it back to they're not to that step yet of 1v1ing solo or fighting outnumbered, and they need to use their team. And I'm like, look, even if your team is terrible and they're just getting killed left and right and not, it's their first, it's like they just got the game today. They're good for at least one thing, and that's a meat shield. So
Right.
peel off of your team, fall back through your team, let them absorb some of the damage while you reapply your buffs. And that's kind of where we start for the really, really green or really, really fresh PvPers, is use your team in that fashion. Let them be meat shields for you. And they're dying on their own anyways. They might as well at least help you get your buffs back up. And,
Right.
and then the whole, okay, they're going to the left. We're all going to go to you're going to the right, and we're going to go pick a fight. So
Right.
I love that. Yeah.
I think one tip that I have that for whoever listens to this, for a new player, one thing that I've learned over the years playing Elder Scrolls Online is whether it's a 1v1 or a 1v5 or a 1v10, you got to learn to watch the other players and not watch your character. Your character, you know what your character's doing with your muscle memory, and when you hit vigor, like you don't need to watch your character hit vigor. Like you hit that button, it's gonna you're good. You kind of gotta work on focusing on what the enemy is throwing at you and focus on their character. I mean, some people play zoomed in to where like the camera's right behind their character's back. I zoom all the way out. I want to be able to rotate the camera and see what's all around me. Some people like to play zoomed in and see their character, and it feels cool, playing like that, kind of like a Skyrim look to it. But I think that's a huge tip is, and the more classes you play, you'll understand what their strengths are, and then when you're fighting against that class, you'll know what to expect. So I guess that comes with time, just trying other classes. But yeah, that's a huge tip, is just learning to watch what your enemy is doing and not watching your character. Like just focus on what's coming at you and not what you're dishing out, because you know what you're doing. Like once you get your rotation down, you know what you're doing. So it's just kind of like trusting your muscle memory and your awareness, really.
Yeah. And it's not going to be an easy process. So they have to have thick skin, or they got to be ready to take their lumps. But it's not an easy process for a couple reasons. But number one, there's growing pains all the way. You need to learn your class and what you're good at, what you're bad at. And then you need to learn every other class and how they're trying to kill you, and individual players, their skill sets and how they're going to succeed or what they're trying to do. And so there's so many things that you're learning all at once. And then
Right.
you're running into toxic players too. Like they just 4v1
Right.
you and teabagged you. Like, come on,
Yep.
guys.
That's
So
every night. That's every night, dude.
yeah, yeah. And nothing frustrates me more than getting killed in an outnumbered situation, getting teabagged. I make sure I record because I'm gonna find those people. I got something to return, and
Yep.
but that's not, I can return it. It's not fair for the people that aren't there yet, and all they're doing is just getting teabagged and being bullied all the time. in a PvP scenario. So there's better ways to train, outside of battlegrounds too, and that maybe that's with dueling with friends, and in a very low testosterone or low ego scenario where we're just focused on trying to get better at PvP, better at our mechanics, or maintaining our buffs, or controlling the fight with CCs or crowd controls. And so there's a lot of different training methods or methodologies to get there. You just have to explore all of them, or align yourself with somebody that's willing to help, if you're a new player, people that are willing to help you learn. So
Right.
Yeah, we really
Definitely.
gotta get those T-shirts made, Grim, that say it's all about the maturation process.
it's all about the maturation process.
And then also another shirt that says I'm getting frost fangs.
Yeah. Or you're not living your best life unless you're wearing crimson.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, man. This has been awesome. This has been fun.
So awesome, sweet. So I guess with that, we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.
Okay. Thank you, Grim. Thank you, Icy.
Thanks, Kirk. See you guys. You're going to say bye-bye, Argonians.
Bye bye, Rogonian.